Smurfy greetings, YouTubers. It is I, Hell Gear. Welcome back to me having sniffles and sneezes for allergy breezes and the newest update to Smurfs Village. As always, remember to like, sub, and bell. But I have to admit one thing as I deal with my nose here. This is one of the weirder updates because, well, I'll just show you. But first and foremost, how well can you guys stitch? Crochet Smurfs hut. Oh, this is a Grove Smurf. Okay then. Well, we're going to the Grove. Place her colorful hut to unlock exclusive items like the crochet kittens and the baby crochet dragon. Well, that's some interesting madness. That's some interesting madness. All right then. Well, where am I going to put this thing? Okay. Where to put Crochet Smurf's hut? There's Smurf Ruby's hut. You know what? For now, turn around and go here. Golden Coin Shop. We know about that. Now then, let's get down to the thread of these issues. But ching. Here are the crochet kittens. And this is some of the weirdest stuff. It's like the fabric has come to life. This I might actually get. Crochet dino statue. Yeah, sure. Crochet treehouse wonder. Help your Smurfs reconstruct the crochet treehouse. This wonder will depict a building of a large tree with multiple Smurfy crochet huts in it, with a couple of crochet Smurfs in the treehouse. As odd as this is, I'm going to put that in. Why? Because it actually looks cool. Like the crochet dino statue. And this is where we get weird. Right? Okay, this explains why when they did the trailer, why they did the trailer for this newest episode, why Basketball Smurf was on the thumbnail. Because Basketball Crochet Smurf. This Smurf proudly displays his love for basketball with embroidered basketballs on his clothes. Now this I will never understand. Is that fruit even edible? Like, why does the fruit make, it's crocheted fruit. Sure, the sheep is one thing. See, now this looks cool. Okay, sure. There's nothing wrong with a nice couple of tables. All this patchwork, this quilted things. Crochet teddy bear, that's for baby Smurf. A crochet tree, nah. And then the walls. But then there's this thing. Like, when I saw this, I was like, what the hell is this? You have crocheted fish, like fish made out of yarn in a bowl of water. That must be some really durable material. Mama and baby crochet Smurf. Oh, dear me. Wait, let me go back. So, there's crochet Smurf. Okay. Go back to that. That actually is her. Oh, geez. Crochet Princess Tower and the Crochet Castle. The Crochet Castle actually looks cool, but oh, geez. That's some weird. That's some weird mess. Like this stuff with water just is like, why? I think I'm going to work this out a little bit more. But before I do that, there are Smurf berries to harvest. And resources to obtain. So while I'm at it, I want to talk a little bit about, well, sewing. How many of you out there know how to sew? That's the question of the video. How many of you out there know how to sew? Let me know in the comments section below if you do or do not. Whether you're good at it or you suck dramatically. Like, I actually do know how to sew. It's been a while since I've sewn anything, but I do know how to sew. And Lieutenant Laughing Coffin is in the middle of crocheting some blankets and stuff. Like, crocheting and sewing is one of the like few valuable skills for guys to actually know how to do. Like crocheting, not so much as sewing, but sewing, oh geez. Dudes, you gotta learn how to sew. Like, if for nothing else, a man should know how to sew his clothes. Like, sewing is one of those things that can save your butt. This is from a man's perspective. It's from the male perspective about sewing. Because I take a ripping from this a lot, more than you would think. About dudes and sewing. Right? Oh, don't do that sewing thing, Helgear. Sewing is women's work. And I'm like, bruh, this is not the 1950s. All right? Sewing is not women's work. You want to know some important men that do sewing? Doctors. Because sewing is also a part of giving you stitches. And you may never know when you need to actually take, and this is something that oh geez. Okay, nose aside. Fellas, you may never know when there will come that time where somebody gets their arm or something amputated and all you have is a bottle of whiskey, some sewing needles, and a pair of scissors and some fish twine. Like, like this is some of the craziest mess, right? Because you may never know when you have to stitch somebody's arm back together again until you can get them to the hospital so they can medically reattach your limbs and shit. But that is some of the craziest mess. Like when you have to stitch somebody back together again, that is the craziest mess. It will always be the craziest mess. Like, I still remember that. That was one of those adventures you don't tell your folks about, right? Where you're out with your friends and they get busted wide open, right? And I mean like busted wide open. And it's like, all right, dude, look, You're gonna have to tell your folks about this. You got sliced like this, bro. You can't hide this from mom and dad, right? And when you got some dude whose arm is hanging off of them by the muscle and you got to stitch that shit back on, that is like some of the most valuable skills. Like, I actually got some real clout from that. They're like, okay, what the hell is this? Snapdragons, actual snapdragons. Wow. Then we got the mud bath. Oh, Sloppy Smurf would love that. The ladybug pond. You know what? This is worth buying for Ladybug Smurf. But in any case, let's go back to this stitchy stuff. Uh I have enough Smurf berries for the baby crochet dragon, and I'm going to hold on to them because I'm probably going to need some more stuff. Like, the crochet tree is fine, but let me get the dinosaur statue. Let me just buy one of these. Hey, somebody actually sat on the crochet table. Thank you. Money did not go to waste. Gotta love that. Wow, I sound a little bit too real there. Money did not go to waste. Money did not go to waste. Someone sat in the crochet chair at the crochet table. Thank you very much. Money, money not going to waste. Somebody else going to sit on this table? We going to sit on the other table? There we go. Somebody sitting on the table. There we go. One Smurf sat on the first table, another Smurf sat on the second table. Money has not been wasted. And that makes me smile. Very nice. Money was not wasted, right? When you stitch somebody open, or when you I can't say stitch somebody open, when you stitch somebody closed, that is like one of the biggest clouts ever because it might just save someone's life. And as crazy as that sounds, you, like I said, fellas, you may never know about this. This isn't some of that, this is not that survival 101 Bear Grylls type shit. Right? But in, what was it, 8th grade, I took home ec. All right, and let's be real, okay? If you, back in those days when you were 12 years old, 13 years old, home ec was not the class for guys to be doing, right? If you were a dude and you were in home ec class, right? If you were a dude taking home ec class, the biggest question was, "Oh, you're in there to get some to hit on the girls, right?" But if you're not in there to hit on the girls, like you're just willingly in there, oh, he's in there for the girls, right? Oh, you got the biggest. Oh, that would have been sweet had I landed on that coming down, right? You'd have got such a ripping, right? You'd have got such a ripping. Yes, got the last one. Gotta love that. Give me the mushroom, right? Oh, a dude at home ec class and he's not picking up chicks? Yeah, dude is less of a man. You looking real girly right now. And somebody sits on the mushroom. See, you love it when stuff does not go to waste. Yep, sit on the mushroom chairs. There we go. More sappy boys sitting on the mushroom chairs. Yes, that makes me smile. Somebody else going to the table. There we go. See, this is what I like to see. Money that gets well spent because things get used. Yes, have a seat in the chair. There at the table. There we go. Maybe I should get the crochet cart for the damn stitched up fruit. Maybe I should just buy the stitched up fruit, right? So let's keep going. Uh, I learned this in eighth grade. Like I went to home ec in eighth grade, and back then, even the girls would rip on dudes for taking this class. They're like, "Oh, don't expect to come in here to pick up girls." I looked at this stuck-up broad, right? And I was like, "I'm only in this class so I can learn how to cook for myself, because I don't need to have to depend on a woman just to get a meal." The teacher, who was a woman, simply clapped at my response for that. And that's the main reason why I can cook. Like, home ec is good for guys. It teaches you how to cook things, it teaches you how to sew. So, going back to fast forwarding to that time when I had to stitch up one of my buds, right? Oh man, his arm was literally hanging off. We're like, okay, what do we have? And we're like, dude, we don't have anything in here. Oh, well, get the med kit. Get the first aid kit, right? We got a bunch of bandages and stuff because we had gone fishing, right? And they goes, well, what else do we have? We got to worry about getting his arm back together again. And we're like, okay, well, what else do we have? I got a bottle of whiskey and I got this thing of fishing line. And I'm like, okay, anybody got some sewing needles? And somebody actually had like one sewing needle. I'm like, all right, cool. All right, hold him down. And dude, stay absolutely still. And I'm going to tell you now, this is going to hurt like hell. And I got to teach like battlefield medical tasks, right? This is something you learn. This isn't some Boy Scout shit or some Bear Grylls mess, okay? This is just something that happens, right? If you're ever in this situation, guys, I know. Episode about Smurfs Village, we learn about crocheting update, and here I'm giving you life lessons about how to stitch somebody up. It's this amazing shit. You can't find this anywhere else on YouTube, apparently. No other Smurf content creator will tell you this sort of thing. So please thank me in the comment section below. Show some love with the likes and the subs and the bell and the ringing of the bells for this, because gold like this you may never know you need to know how to do this, but it'll come up. You'll be like, you know what? I learned this from Hellgear that one time he was talking about sewing in this crochet update in Smurfs Village. Here's what you do. Your friend's got a big ass gash, right? All you have is some sewing needles, some fishing line, and a bottle of whiskey. Have your friend lie completely still. Pull out some fishing line. Oh, and if you have a lighter or a way to light a fire, that'll help you out. And I'm going to explain all this now. If you got a little bit of a fire, take your sewing needle. This is that kung fu movie time trick. I learned this watching Iron Monkey, right? Take a sewing needle. What you do is you take the needle, place it over the fire till you get a slight burn. This literally sterilizes the needle. All right? Now, once you get that little bit of smoke off that, take it off. Thread the fishing line through the hoop of the sewing needle. Now, once you've got that set, Go to your friend who's gashed out. Let them know, look, this is going to hurt like hell. Open that bottle of whiskey. Pour a cap of it in there, right? Now, in that cap, dip the tip of the needle into that cap of whiskey, all right? Once you do that, take the cap of whiskey, pour it over the wound. All right, whiskey, alcohol whiskey is very strong. That stuff can disinfect cuts and things. Right? Now, when you do the sewing to stitch up your friend, you have to go deep enough into the skin. And you're going to go in a slant fashion. They call this cross stitching. You're literally looping one side of an X, right? Both parts of the gash. You stick your thread through one side where the cut is and on the other side. And then you're going to pull through and you're going to make like diagonal lines looping around. All right? Once you get to the end of that, you're going to go across. So when you do it, instead of going like in the diagonal, you're going to go across the way. Now, before you go across the way, you need to measure out enough fishing line so you can stitch up your friend going all the way back around. All right. And this is what catches a lot of people off guard when you learn cross stitching in home ec class, is they don't pull enough thread when they go across to then redo the cross stitching, and when they do, they're coming up short. All right. So pull the thread through. Make sure if there's not enough during the previous stitches, pull the stitches up like shoelace hoops. You know, a good example of cross stitching pattern is how your shoelaces are on your shoes. You're going to do that pattern when you got to stitch up your friend. Or you might have to stitch yourself up with one arm. Hopefully you never have to stitch up your arm, right? If somebody's bone is dislocated when you stitch them up, you have to make sure that when you line up their arm, that it lines up completely to socket. Line up the bone, line up the nerve endings, line all of that up to the best you can. And then you start stitching your friends back together. Once you have enough thread, when you go back to stitch through, when you go back to the top of the X, okay, you're going to pull the thread so everything closes tight. And after you've done that, right, go across at the top where you did the beginning of the cross stitching hoops, and then you cut the fishing line. And you tell your friend, don't move too much, because if that fishing line breaks, you're going to have to redo it all over again. That's why you use a cap of whiskey. And every now and again, you're going to have the whiskey cap as you sew. That way you can sterilize the fishing line, or sterilize the fishing line as you go. All right. That bottle of whiskey is going to go a long way. Remember, the dude that got rescued from the boat in Titanic, he had a flask of alcohol, and that alcohol kept him from freezing to death. That's how you know the alcohol back in the 1930s and something, whenever the Titanic crashed. I don't care. We just had the anniversary of the Titanic movie, right? Only Titanic I care about is the Hindenburg Titanic blimp, where the dog was one of the survivors. Right? If you ever have to stitch up your friends, believe me, That will save your life. I had to stitch up one of my dudes, right? I was like, okay, look, this will get you cruising as long as you don't move too much to get home. You still have to go to a doctor. So you make up whatever excuse, like you cut yourself climbing over the barbed wire fence. That's what we're gonna tell. It's like, look, we were chased by some dogs. We had to climb over a barbed wire fence. And going over the barbed wire fence, you got gashed. That's what you tell your mama. When you get there, call us at the house where you're all fixed up at the hospital, right? You know how much clout it is. You know how much clout that you get. We're not even talking about Riz for you Gen Alphas out there. You know how much clout you get if your friend has to be stitched up by you and you're the one that does it, like battlefield medicine type shit. That you get a lot of clout for that. And after I had to do that for one of my buds, nobody ever made fun of me doing the home ec class. In fact, the next semester, some of them actually took home ec just so they could learn how to fucking sew. The more you know, rainbow. And that's going to do it for how to do battlefield stitching up on your friends. Ends with this episode of Smurfs Village. Like, sub, and bell. Leave your battlefield stitching stories in the comments section below if you have any. I'd love to read that sort of thing. And I'll see you guys next time.